As a hairstylist who owns multiple multi-million-dollar companies, in this podcast, I'm talking to hairstylists and salon owners who are ready to put in the work to build wealth. We are literally teaching stylists how to get results. We're getting them to get results on how to make more money behind the chair and to create their own empires. It's what you know that you don't know that you need to know in order to get to where you want to go. Because I understand now that in order for me to get to my targets and my big goals and be able to impact 500,000 stylists all over the world and 400 plus salon owners and helping them run an efficient business that they don't feel like they're babysitting anymore, that they feel like they know how to scale it because they have the right information. We get to touch this magic every day of giving people the confidence of hair, but truly it's how do we be more impactful and understanding. My name is Terra Harvell and this is the Terra Harvell Show. Welcome back to the Terra Harvell Show. I just had an amazing podcast with one of our longtime Harper Ellis supporters, the beautiful Jamie Harrington. In this podcast, you will get to hear from Jamie herself as she shares her inspiring journey and the impact that she hopes to make on the industry. Get your tissues out. This is a good one. Enjoy. First of all, I'm really excited that you're a part of this Hope Project because, of course, you know your own story. But if you don't mind, before we get into the Hope Project and all the cool things that we're doing with Harper Ellis and for people that have experienced what you've experienced in your own personal life, tell me about your diagnosis and how that all came about.
Well, it started in early 2023. Mm-hmm. My husband and I were trying to start a family and kind of dealing with fertility testing issues, that sort of thing. And went through the line of testing before they were going to send me to IVF. And the very last one revealed a tumor of some sort, and they were a little unsure, so they did more kind of things, which finally got me into oncology. I had one surgery in May to actually remove that tumor, which was attached to my ovary, and remove the ovary. And it was fertility sparing so that we could continue the process just differently until that came back with all the biopsies at that time. And it was endometrial cancer. And they were going to have to do full hysterectomy in order to fully diagnose the stage and all of that. Mm-hmm. So then when I had this hysterectomy scheduled in July, that came back stage 3C1.
Wow. Man. So how was that when you were like, because I feel like, no one can ever prepare. You can get prepared for that like secondhand experience because, my mother-in-law, we lost her to cancer a couple of years ago. And I still, would never say that I understand because no one can understand until it's like, hey, this is what's happening
to you. Yeah.
So how was that moment when you were like, okay, this is my reality?
It was shocking. And the way that it kind of came about, it's funny now, like my mom and I laugh about it, but she and I were going to go walk the dogs or something. And my doctor called me. So we're in the car and I'm listening. And he's saying all of these words. And I'm just like, the very end of it, I was like, did he just say that I have cancer?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah. And I just lost it. I mean, at that point, it's just kind of like.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So. And I just remember, because when was your first class with Harper Ellis? Like, when did you?
2020.
As I say, it was like, I think we started education the end of 2019. So you were what we call the early. OG of Harper Ellis hair. Yeah. You've seen us through a lot of phases.
Through all the things.
Yes. And so I just, the one thing that I will never forget, and I still, even before you came to our headquarters to talk about this, I was like, I'll never forget Jamie and all of her hair. Like all of the hair that you had, like it was long and I mean, I know you probably wore extensions sometimes, but you had a ton of hair.
I had like a decent amount of hair and I wore 24s.
Yeah.
So it was like.
Yeah. So walk me through that. You've had this reality of the diagnosis, and what's cool about this is the story gets great, of course, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Like what does that look like as far as the journey of, what it does to your inside. And that's what I learned with my mother-in-law. Was it always like, we can see these things physically, you know, but what about the inside, you know?
That's where it gets a little difficult.
Yeah. So kind of walk me through that point of, all right, I have this diagnosis, you know, I'm sure so many thoughts go through your head at the diagnosis point, but what, like, when it comes to your hair, like what was, because you were this girl with all the hair. I remember back in 2020 when we met, like you had a lot of hair. And then of course extensions and all these things that all of us extension artists were like, you know, walking around like a bunch of blonde bimbos with all this hair. And we just don't understand what it's like to not have it. So walk me kind of through you being in the profession, being behind the chair and doing this firsthand, and then kind of get into the other side of how we serve our clients and how we have to relate sometimes, and sometimes we can't, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, literally I had so much extensions going on. I wore 24s for the longest time, and my wedding pictures, my hair was like down to my waist. Mm-hmm. So it was a hard reality. Like I'm going to go through chemo and lose all of it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're so great. This is going to help so many people.
And like, as a stylist behind the chair, promoting extensions and promoting this transformation, this beautiful hair, and then I'm bald.
Yeah.
What? So I was really nervous about that. And I had, you know, I would have new clients reaching out to me on Instagram or Facebook, and I'm like, just so you know, like my profile picture, now I'm bald. I didn't say it like that, obviously, but it was like I almost had to preface before they saw me so that there wasn't that like initial of like, oh, okay, did you, you know, and a few people didn't realize what was going on, so they would come in and I would be completely bald, and I tried to do, you know, wear big earrings, do my makeup, like stuff like that, so that I didn't look sick. But there still was that like shock kind of where they're like, oh, did you just decided did you have a Britney moment? And it's like, no, not quite. So then I would have to kind of explain how everything happened. And it's one of those things where like our hair truly makes such a big impact on our confidence daily. Getting ready, doing all of the things, and like feeling good about how you're presenting yourself.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a firsthand now.
Yeah. And now that you're on this side of it, and that's what I love so much about your story, because you're going to be able to help so many of your own clients, because now you understand in a way that hopefully people will never have to understand, of course. But what I love about your story is how you and I are going to be able to work together to help stylists understand the impact of hair.
Yeah.
And, you know, losing my mother-in-law a couple of years ago, you know, watching her lose all of her hair, and then seriously, like the only thing that she ever would talk to me about, it was the first thing and the only thing almost, was like, okay, at what point is my hair long enough for extensions? Yeah. And, you know, we're on this side of the things, and it's just like, I'm sure you've thought about it. You're like, at what point how many inches can I get to attach an extension? No, I get it. And so having those conversations with my mother-in-law, like I wished, and I don't know if we were more in just survival mode with her diagnosis and just trying to get her through it.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have as much empathy as I wish that and sympathy as I wish that I had for her about the hair, because I was just thinking about her life and like, you know, how do we keep you here versus your hair? But now that thinking back and I'm reflecting on the experience, it's like, that probably was one of the main things that she was just dying inside from, because she wanted to feel confident. all women want to be beautiful. All men want to be beautiful. I had a call this morning from a man that I know really well in our community, and he was asking about men's toppers, and he was like, man, I wish that we could make this more normal, like men having those kind of things. And it just like, I could hear the heartbreak in his voice. He's like, 'cause I'm balding, Terra. And I could hear it in his voice of like, he's this tough, he's in construction. And so he's like, he's this tough man and he doesn't have hair. And even men deserve to feel great about their appearance. And so, you know, I'm looking at you and like the adorable hair that's grown back, and everyone in the room, I know watching this is going to be extremely jealous of this beautiful curly hair that you have. But, you know, kind of walk me through like how you will see clients differently that come in for consultation and are like, I'm lacking the confidence of hair.
It's such a sensitive topic, and it's one of those things where now doing the topper, I've been working with it a little bit. I've had a couple clients reach out and send photos, and as soon as I saw it, just made me cry. It hit me right in my heart, because it's like, I know how that feels. I know that like you just want something to help get past this step, or you know, help
not feel that way anymore.
Help kind of build that confidence back up. And it's like, I'm so excited to be able to offer something for that now, to give them that step of looking in the mirror, getting ready in the morning, and just feeling good, ready to go.
Right. And I, you know, like, you've taken education from us since 2020, and you know that's something that I've always talked to stylists about. Like, you have to believe in the product. You have to believe in the product. To be able to sell anything, you have to believe in it. How is your belief different than what it, like, does it resonate? Do you wish that you could teach that part of our class of like, guys?
No, literally.
You should believe in this product, because now you're on literally the guts of how people can feel with no hair. So tell me how that belief in the product, even in your day-to-day, not the Hope Project, just your day-to-day of growing your business and, you know, making a living from giving people the gift of hair. How will that be different for you?
So honestly, starting out with extensions was because of a haircut. I wanted to get past this like weird stage, and I used extensions to get there, and I was like, this is literally life-changing. So it's like, I've always had that view of extensions, of just being able to get you, you know, what your goal is. Knowing how much the extensions or the wigs like impact and make me feel better wearing them, like getting ready to go out, doing all of the things, like now knowing that difference, it literally is priceless, because it's your confidence, and it's like how you feel presenting yourself when you're going to work or going out, doing whatever you're going to do. It's been 1,000% worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Whenever your hair grows back out and you can wear extensions again, are you going to?
Absolutely.
You're like, I'm never taking them out.
I've said it a million times to my clients. As soon as my hair is long enough to put some type of extension, that's happening.
Yeah, definitely. Even if it's like keratin bonds on every strand.
Every single strand of hair, if you could please.
So back to the Hope Project. Like, this is why I'm so excited, because I've realized that with this project, step one is us helping stylists understand. And that's why you're here today, is because with all this hair and me not experiencing what you've experienced, I can say it all day long, but hearing it straight from the source of like, it is our job. I do really think it's our duty as hair extension artists to change the world in this manner and in this way of normalizing things like toppers, because you know, you and I have been in the industry, you know, a long time, and we've seen this like hair extensions go from some people had them, but they hid them. It was like taboo. So now hair extensions are a thing. And sometimes I've seen it be a status thing. Like, I've seen it be this cool thing of like, you know, you're group of girls out at brunch. It's like you look at the table, they all have
They
hair
all have
extensions.
hair
It's
extensions.
insane.
Yeah. Yeah, they're everywhere.
Right. So what I'm excited to work with you on is how can we get toppers and wigs to be the same thing as hair extensions?
Yeah.
Because you are experiencing both of those products that are changing the way you feel, because you know the value of having hair and you know what it's like to not have the hair. And so what are you most excited about with the Harper Ellis Hope Project of getting stylists to understand that side of it so they can go out and talk to the women in their community that are hurting and
Yeah.
think that there's no solution? Because that's what I'm finding. I don't know if that's what because you probably
Absolutely.
felt that way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I am really excited for stylists to get more on board with the toppers, even with wigs, because of how much of a difference they can make, and being so much more available now.
Mhm.
I love the idea of, toppers have a little bit more permanency than a wig does necessarily, but like you could have 7 different wigs
Right.
and wear a different color each day
Yeah,
if
it's
you
like a
wanted
different
to.
personality
Different personality every day.
That would be my perfect scenario. I do have a different personality every day.
Same.
So, and that's the thing. Like, we are going to make it our duty to help stylists understand, hey, you've got to go out and find these people in your community that are a little lost on the service. So
Yeah.
walk me through when you did lose your hair and you were probably thinking of, I'm just imagining, trying to put myself in your shoes of the best way that I can, of like, were you walking yourself through like, okay, I know how to do extensions are my thing, but what am I going to be able to do about this?
Mhm.
And so how did you feel in that moment of like, probably a little lost on even the services that really is your expertise and what you're going to do to cure the feeling that you have on the inside?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I honestly jumped straight to wigs because
Mhm.
I knew that with the chemo, um, I bought wigs before I even took my extensions out.
Mhm.
And I was trying them on with extensions in. So imagine the amount of hair that was there.
Yeah.
Um, but it's something, it's such a sensitive topic that for stylists, putting it out there that you have something that could offer this for some, and
Yeah.
the people who are interested, they will certainly send you a message,
Yeah.
probably more of, DMs and you something like that to kind of get some more information about it. But
Yeah.
I would say just making sure that people are aware that this is something that we can do now. This is something that we can help with. And because they're searching for it. I know I was,
Mhm.
trying to figure out something that's going to get me through the couple weird spots.
Yeah. No doubt. What advice would you give to stylists on the marketing aspect? Because it's a sensitive thing. Like I feel like we have gotten so caught up in this extension world of like, look at all my
Yeah.
hair. But this is different. And that's
Yeah.
what, as this whole entire year, we've taught over 600 stylists how to do toppers. And each time that we introduce the class and get into it, we're like, guys, this is different. This is not the same. Like you cannot be not sensitive to the fact that this set of clients are coming in with a different set of problems, like kind of the same, but really not, and internally not. So what advice would you give to stylists on putting it out there that they do have a solution, but while being still sensitive to the client?
I mean, social media is great for that because you can put it out there and just say, here's the solution. Here it is, if this is what you're looking for. But in the salon, when you have someone in your chair, honestly, I love having my kind of Harper Ellis display. I have my boxes set up and the swatch ring and everything so that people are like, what's the Harper Ellis? What is all of that?
Yeah.
And I can kind of explain the different products that are offered through Harper Ellis and land on the topper.
Yeah.
And let that be the last thing that I say so that it's the last like the first thing on
Yeah.
their mind, and they're like, well, wait, what's the topper?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can kind of explain the intricacies of what it can do, how it can help,
Mm-hmm.
how it's attached, all of those sort of
Mm-hmm.
things,
Mm-hmm.
without saying, hey, I noticed.
I noticed that you don't have hair. Yeah, absolutely.
And then that gets them curious about it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something right then, right that second,
Totally.
but it kind of plants the seed and lets them
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah. So you feel like it's important that let them walk into it, right? Like it's not something that we should ever point out, but give the client tools.
Give them the tools, give them the information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way they can say, hey,
You know what? I was
Jamie.
thinking about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. What about whenever our stylist, which I'm so excited, we've had a lot of nominations for the Hope Project, and I'm just glad that emails don't come to me. I'm just going to tell you that because it would just derail my entire day. But it's something that we should not just ignore.
Yeah.
When we read these stories of these clients, it's like, it's just how fast could we get this product in their hands?
Yeah.
So our stylist can serve them. How would you say is the best way for our stylist to go about nominating their client? Like, let's put yourself in the client's shoes and say you had a stylist that was like, Jamie, I want to nominate you to get a free topper from Harper Ellis, as you are growing back your hair. What are some things that you would want your stylist to make sure that they are sensitive and how they handle it that would set them up for success?
Having that conversation with your client, they're already kind of expressing to you what they're going through and possibly even preparing you for them not coming back in to see you for a while.
Yeah.
In that conversation, just letting them know that you'll whew, whew,
You're so
sorry.
good at this, though. You're so good at this.
Letting them know that you will be there for them and that you have something that can help them when they get to the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when they're ready to kind of jump back in and all of that, which
can be maybe not a thing that we are telling them, hey, this is the product, this is what you need. Kind of what I'm hearing from you is maybe let's not be like, I want to nominate you for this thing, or I think this is what you should do, because I think that's where in a place of maybe I'm dealing with that. And, I could just try my best to put myself in the shoes. And I think that's something our stylists need to do, of like, put yourself in someone's shoes that may be dealing with this. And then just maybe not being like, hey, I'm going to nominate you, or I want to nominate you, or something of more of like, how would you feel if a stylist was like, hey, Harper Ellis does this really cool thing?
Yeah. And that was a huge, like, saying, I would love to be able to offer this to you. But it's also getting to a point of that client, that person going through their treatments and being able and ready for that step. Because there was, a good amount of time where truthfully my hair was the last thing on my mind.
Totally.
Just going through the motions of all of the other. So, especially if it's directly after diagnosis, having the stylist just being there for their client and saying, I'm ready for you when you are. Let's, there's things that can help you.
Yeah.
But what if it's someone coming in after and they've gotten to a point they've got length back, but their hair's just not the same. It's just not what it used to be. Letting them know that we have solutions, just,
Yeah. And that's one thing too, I want to hear this from you, because I don't feel great about going out and saying this because I've not experienced it. But I think one key, and this is from my thoughts of laying in bed at night thinking about how this can be successful and how we can serve people the best. Because I know when you're in that position, you don't want to be a charity case. Like, that was something my mother-in-law always like, I'm a warrior. I'm trying to fight. I do not want to be anyone's charity case. So how do you feel like, how important it is that we introduced the Harper Ellis Hope Project to be a tool instead of like, hey, this is this charity, because it's truly not a charity.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
it's this tool that we have available that would, or an opportunity that you could have to get a topper from Harper Ellis because they're super passionate about helping anyone that's gone through what you have. When you're ready,
Yeah.
let me know.
Yeah.
And then we can go from there.
Yeah. Because and that's just it. Like I didn't want, kid gloves. I didn't want people to look at me and be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And it's like I just didn't want that.
Yeah.
So I could absolutely see
Mhm.
other clients being like, "No, don't."
Mhm.
So we don't want to necessarily make it
Right.
feel like you're saying, "Oh, let
Mhm.
me do the." It's about supporting them and
Yeah.
about being there for them and
Mhm.
about knowing, hey,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
but
me
I
too.
appreciate the struggle and I would love to be here for you.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a cool tool that we can utilize to get you back up on your feet and
Yeah.
make you, feel
Help you
normal.
just feel so
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's my nightmare, honestly, is that people start to view this Hope Project as the charity, because
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be like, poor you, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I would rather it just be like, this is a cool tool that we can utilize because I have a company that is super passionate about helping people that have gone through what you've gone through, take advantage if you want to, kind of thing. And so when it comes to, let me ask you this, when it comes to stylists doing the actual install for people, it's like, because I also feel like that could be uncomfortable when you're in the salon and you're having, a wig or a topper or something installed. Like, what are some things they should be aware? Because that's what I think the key is to this. Like, you've got to be aware of how the other person feels. Like, you have to have empathy and sympathy more than ever in a situation like this. So,
and definitely understanding like maybe before pictures aren't going to be something that they really want to do. Making sure that that's, do they want you to use their image to promote it further? With the clients coming in and getting a topper installed, there's a lot of us who are in suites now, which can lend a lot to keeping that a little bit more private and keeping it secluded for them.
Yeah.
But if you are in a salon, maybe it's something checking with them first. Are you comfortable with staying at my station? Do you want to maybe see about moving to one that's a little bit more in the corner, something like that, because it can feel exposing. Like you're exposed.
And so do you think it's important, probably previous of the client coming in for the actual service, maybe just set up a phone call, like have a heartfelt human nature,
absolutely,
sympathy phone call, not of one like, I feel sorry for you, but like, let's chat this out before, because I don't know about you, I have social anxiety and like me walking into the room and not being prepared of like what's happening is really hard on me as a person.
Immediately sweating.
Yes, exactly. So, like being in a position where I also have this problem along with the problems that I already have internally, like I just want stylists to be prepared, to be aware and to coach, be of like, hey, have a phone call, send them a quick text of like, would you love it if someone sent you a quick text like, hey, I'd love to set up a phone call before your appointment just to set you up for success.
Yeah, go over all the expectations, talk about everything prior to you actually coming in. And a lot of that does happen on socials when you're sending messages back and forth, just kind of like guiding it, having it to where, speaking to the anxiety side of things, like having them come in and you giving them clear expectations to start of here's what we're going to do, here's how this is going to go, and letting them know kind of every step of the way so that they're not
left in the dark.
Yeah.
Communication is going to be so key for this service and the Hope Project. Just because, kind of going back to the way clients feel, you want them to feel excited about it, not like, oh my gosh, they're doing this because they feel sorry for me. They're doing this because, because like who wants to feel that way, right?
Not even a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. One last question. What would you say to any stylist that is probably in the same line of passion that you are of helping people regain their confidence. And that's what we're focused on here. Like, how do we give that back to people? What would you say advice-wise to stylists that wants to change the world, probably the way that you do and the way that I do when it comes to giving back people hair? Like, what would you tell them?
I would just say to keep practicing, keep working at learning all of the different methods and master all of the different methods that you can offer people.
Yeah, definitely. Become really good at it. Like, I know you've been doing extensions for years. Like, you're not, this is not a thing that people can just say, oh, I'm an extension artist. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, seriously, one of my pet peeves with the industry. I feel like people can take a 1-day class and just be like, I have arrived.
Off to the races.
And it's just like, how important is it? Because you not only want to serve them emotionally, and you not only want to serve them, with their confidence, but got to be good.
It's got to be good.
Yeah, you got to be able to transform, right?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And I mean, it takes practice. It's not something that you can just put in and call it good. And you have to kind of own your mistakes and realize, like, okay, there's definitely things that I could do differently here, and customize it for each person. All of those sort of things, just making sure that you're covering your bases so that these people are coming in and trusting you with their confidence.
Yeah.
They're trusting you with their dollars.
Yeah.
All of these things.
Yeah, no doubt.
Gotta
I love
make
that.
sure it delivers.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. Okay, Jamie, so I want to talk to everyone a little bit about where you are now. What's the update with the diagnosis and where are you at now?
Very excited, very happy to say I am cancer-free.
Nice. And you have new hair.
And I have new hair.
This is a really exciting product that we are working on right now, which is actually a Harper Ellis wig. And so we're really excited about that. I'm excited for her to be the official tester of this product. But cancer-free, killing it. You're back behind the chair. What does that look like?
Well, I actually never left behind the chair. The whole time I was still working my 3 days a week. I just shifted it around my treatment schedule. So that went well, but I am behind the chair. I have my own studio really close to home. It's been amazing, and I've gotten really great feedback from clients that they're all really loving it. I've been feeling really great. I've had 2 clear scans.
Nice.
And my next one is not until December.
Heck yeah, let's go. I love that, because you'll be a year cancer-free in January?
In December.
In December?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so as soon as that scan goes and everything comes back good, then.
Nice. Well, it's been incredible to watch your journey on our end, for sure. Just being one of our very own and experiencing this, I'm so excited to be able to help stylists kind of navigate what these waters look like. And I know that you yourself, with or without us, are going to help so many stylists, bring this part of their business to life. And especially those stylists that know how much and how important it is to make a huge impact on other women that have experienced what you have. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, for
I've
sure.
really enjoyed my day, and you guys are amazing.
Thank you.